hottest team in the nation, maybe one that until 2 weeks ago wasn't even ranked and didn't make the tournament last season. Hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horowitz, glad to be with you in the paint. Back in full force this week, in addition with Bill Raftery, hit CBSSports.com on Thursday. But let's get you updated on some tournament talk and a team making its way towards a 3 or 4 seed. UConn, with a win Saturday against Georgia Tech, knocked off another non-conference opponent during the already tough Big East schedule, that after winning at Indiana 2 weeks ago. The Huskies 10th in the latest RPI, 7 straight wins, and in that span have knocked off 5 top 50 teams. In fact, they haven't played a team outside the top 100 in more than a month. And folks, they have an inside game that'll be very difficult to deal with come tournament time. Jeff Adrian and sophomore 7'3" man Hashim Thabit lead UConn as the best shot-blocking team in the nation again. But more than that, they're also becoming the go-to scorers. Adrian leads the team while Thabit is coming off a game against the Yellow Jackets in which he scored a career-high 24 and grabbed 15 boards. And on top of it, UConn doing all of it without third-leading scorer Jerome Dyson. He's been suspended the last 5 games for a positive drug test. A.J. Price, he's been an even better point guard than he was before in Dyson's absence, but the latter will be back this season. Will be a very tough out come tournament time. How about Arkansas on a run? John Pelfrey in his first year with the Hogs has his team 6-2 in the SEC and 3 consecutive quality wins, 4 overall. Mississippi State, Florida by 19, and this weekend against Ole Miss. But those were all at home. Very interesting week ahead tournament-wise with road games at Tennessee and at Mississippi State. In fact, the Razorbacks on the road for 5 of the last 8 games. So a big part of the Hogs' fate still to be determined, but they are second in the conference in defense, and those wins earlier in the year against Baylor and VCU will come up big with the selection committee come March. But one of the toughest choices, folks, may actually be Kentucky. Take a look at this. As a team, they were below 500 from the middle of December until February 2nd. Of course, people remember the losses to UAB and Gardner-Webb and San Diego. All those at home, all part of a 6-7 non-conference schedule without a win against a team with an RPI better than 210. But since the SEC started, 6-2, 5 consecutive wins, including the one that started it all, Tennessee. Now, of course, a lot of work left to do, but if the Wildcats could have an equal second half of conference play to first half, it would be very difficult for the tournament committee to leave out a team that goes 12-4 in the SEC. What about 2 teams having trouble in what's become a much better conference than years past? Dayton and UMass, they're both 4-5 in the A-10, tied for 8th in the conference. Now, the Flyers in better shape because of a 12-1 non-conference record with wins against Pitt and at Louisville, but been 2-5 the last 7, and losses at home to Richmond and at George Washington certainly don't help things. But they have been playing without second leading scorer Chris Wright, who could come back as early as this week. A couple of home games could help right the ship. UMass in a different situation. Did win at Dayton, and last week got a big 2-point win against Rhode Island, but the Minutemen just 2-4 their last 6, and their non-conference schedule not quite as strong. Wins at Syracuse and at Boston College look good, but at 15-8, the Minutemen cannot afford too many more losses if they want to be in the tournament for the first time in 10 years. And what about last year's national champion runner-up, Ohio State? Not a bad loss Sunday on CBS, falling to Indiana, although it was at home. But all of a sudden, scoring has become a problem. Team averages nearly 70 a game throughout the course of the season, but in the last 3, just over 55. Take a look at the Buckeyes' resume. 16-8 and 7-4 in conference aren't bad, but the Buckeyes have had numerous chances against teams in the RPI top 50. Beat Syracuse on a neutral court in Florida at home, and yes, played a very, very difficult non-conference schedule, including North Carolina, Tennessee, and Texas A&M. But overall, 2-7 against the top 50. OSU doesn't have great wins of late, and they can't afford many more losses like the one on February 2nd that they had at Iowa. Next up, at Northwestern and at Michigan. You don't want to lose those before taking on Wisconsin and going to Indiana to end the month of February. Meanwhile, Purdue looks like a lock for the tournament. Yes, it's the same team that lost at home earlier in the year to Wofford. Boilermakers lead the Big Ten, and Saturday night won at Wisconsin for the first time since 1996. And it was their first road win against a top 10 team for the first time since winning at Michigan State in 1998. They get the Spartans at home on Tuesday night. Props also have to go out this week to Riders' Jason Thompson. Had 20-plus points and 20-plus rebounds for the 3rd time this season. Nobody's done that since 1996 either. His school hasn't been to the tournament, that being Ryder, since 1994. Certainly a realistic shot to not only get there, but because of him and a couple other players, maybe pull off an upset as well. Folks, plenty more college hoops all week long on CBSSports.com. Be sure to follow all the action. Selection Sunday is less than 5 weeks away. I'm Jason Horowitz. Take care.